Ladies and gentlemen, hey, hi, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for stopping by. It's been rumored that the Vanguard content era in Warzone, and obviously the game itself, is only going to have 5 seasons in total, which means we're already in that second half of the content year for this year of Call of Duty. And as we approach the end of the Vanguard content era, we're also approaching something else nearly simultaneously, and that is the end of Warzone 1, which is going to follow the end of this content year shortly thereafter, either when MW2 launches or in early 2023. And today, I wanted to talk about the end of Warzone 1 and what to expect in these final few seasons leading up to the launch of MW2 and ultimately Warzone 2 as well. As we go through it all today, if you enjoy the video at any point, let me know by dropping a like on it. Would be seriously appreciated. And of course, if you're new here or if you have not already subscribed, each and every day I got you covered with all things going on in Call of Duty, so feel free to hit that sub button and turn on those post notifications. So for what it's worth, the true end of Warzone 1 won't even fully happen when Warzone 2 drops. We'll talk more on that a bit later on into the video, but the primary end of Warzone 1 obviously is going to be when Warzone 2 releases, and as of right now, we still just have 2 solid time frames rumored for when Warzone 2 could potentially drop, either close to the launch of MW2 this fall, maybe a couple weeks after, maybe about a month after, or in early 2023, spring of 2023, probably around March or April. So we could very well be only a few months out from seeing the true end of Warzone 1, or just under a year out, depending on when the game does actually end up releasing. But in the final few seasons of Vanguard's content era and this current era of Warzone, we can already assume several things are going to happen, and we actually know several things are basically already taking place, surprisingly as well. Now, initially, the first main thing I want to talk about is the hype within Warzone of MW2 and Warzone 2. More so MW2 on this point, but it kind of applies to both games because they're going to share similar content when they are both ultimately released to the public. So if you recall, last year prior to Vanguard releasing, they were trying to build hype in Warzone. Warzone as an application and as a game and also as a platform is a great place to promote future Call of Duty endeavors because it has such a large audience already, and that'll build hype in and of itself. You can basically do it for free in your game rather than going on and, paying hundreds of thousands of dollars for commercials, which they're still going to do, but they get the extra platform of Warzone's, gameplay to promote things as well. And prior to Vanguard launching, yeah, we had a few teasers here and there. We also had the whole in-game event with the END Of WARZONE as well, but we also saw something else in specific that was never before seen, and that was introducing some Vanguard specific content into the Warzone, and at the time, the Cold War Battle Pass, and I guess technically the Modern Warfare Battle Pass as well, since it's shared between all the games. But we ended up getting the M1 Grand, then also the STG available to use in the Battle Pass, 2 Vanguard guns a little bit early to use before the game even launched. And that was for Vanguard, a World War II game that they probably saw that after the initial reveals for it probably was not going to be as hyped as some of these other previous games. MW2, on the other hand, is arguably the most highly anticipated and hyped up Call of Duty game ever. So they are absolutely going to go through Warzone and promote this game like crazy, and I fully expect to see a repeat scenario of last year where in the Battle Pass, probably in the Season 5 pass if I had to guess, at some point during that season, probably closer to the second half of it with Season 5 Reloaded, we're going to end up seeing a couple MW2 weapons added into the game, added into the pass for us to use for free once you reach those certain tiers. This could be icon weapons, and I'd probably expect it to be icon weapons, things like the MW2 ACR, maybe the Intervention, maybe the UMP45, weapons like that that sort of define MW2 as a game. I fully expect, 110% expect to see used as promotional material in some way, shape, or form. So that's one thing I absolutely expect to see happen in the ending months of Warzone 1. Another thing that has actually already started happening in Warzone right now that's 110% going to continue through the end of this game's lifespan as well is the sort of lab rat phase of the game that we're in, where obviously Warzone 2 is going to be the primary focus for the long-term future, probably more long-term than Warzone 1 is now, where it'll be about a 3-year game by the time that we eventually see Warzone 2 drop potentially. And what I mean by the lab rat testing phase is that for Warzone 2, they obviously want to implement the most, well-received gameplay mechanics, and they want to be able to appease as much of the community as possible, and they have the perfect testing grounds for that right now in Warzone 1. Obviously, we've seen some pretty drastic changes to gameplay over the course of the past couple of months, dealing with the general TTK and the health, increasing it on Caldera, making that jump up from 250 to 300. We've seen new things like lootable perks added into the game. This is all a part of the testing phase. Iron Trials as well, going back to the health conversation, 400 HP, to really gauge, does the community like this? Would this flow well in gameplay? Is this a positively received implementation into the game? We are in that stage right now where things have already started happening, and in the coming seasons, season 4, season 5, I definitely expect Raven to continue to add in maybe some bizarre things here and there just to see how it works in game and if it is worth looking to in the long term and adding it to Warzone 2 and making it a gameplay feature. At this point, since we're on the second half, that sort of downward slope of this game's life cycle with Warzone 1, we're well past the point of them testing things to make long term for this game. There's no long term left in this game necessarily. Everything here is being looked at for Warzone 2. What works and what doesn't is all being taken into consideration for the next iteration of Warzone. So we are in that testing phase for sure. Now, I also briefly want to talk about life after Warzone 2 and Warzone 1, because as I mentioned at the start of the video, technically for at least a little bit, Warzone 1 is not going to be, completely done even after Warzone 2 drops. Both games are going to be able to coexist. And if you want to play Warzone 1 with presumably all your old content, the weapons, blueprints, skins, because it doesn't seem like that stuff's going to be transferring into Warzone 2, you can still jump onto Warzone 1, play the old map, which could be Caldera, could be something else, Rebirth, and then you could use your old content. And then Warzone 2 is going to be there as well. Tom Henderson has previously reported that he expects Warzone 1 to see some slight updates even after the launch of Warzone 2. It'll still be there for players who want to play it, but it is not even going to be close to being the primary focus and priority for Infinity Ward and for Raven and for Call of Duty in general. It's just going to be there as sort of that top shelf option where you have everything on the bottom shelf, Warzone 2 and MW2, that you're going to look at first and choose from first. Then you got Warzone 1 on the top shelf, which is still there if you want it, but it's not really going to be doing anything. It's going to be collecting dust. It's not going to get deleted though. It's just not going to be that popular. It's not going to be a focus. It's just going to be there. Around that same time though, once we do ultimately reach that point where pretty much everyone is jump ship to Warzone 2 that's going to, I wouldn't be surprised if they bring the app back to Modern Warfare based instead of Warzone based, because simply from a marketing standpoint, if you have two apps on the PlayStation Store, Xbox Store, wherever, titled Warzone or Warzone 2, there will be some slight confusion there, and obviously they just want to make it as easy as possible to get as many players on the game as possible with Warzone 2. So I don't think they'll brand them both that similar. The app will probably be dedicated back to looking like a Modern Warfare 2019 app instead of what we've had for the last 2 years, where it's Warzone and then Modern Warfare, even though the app is still the MW 2019 app, right? Anyway, the next few months, the next few seasons should be pretty interesting for Warzone, because obviously we are still going to continue to see new Vanguard content added in, apparently some new Cold War content added in here and there, but also we can start to see the sort of phase in, if you will, of MW2/Warzone 2 content and maybe some testing features here and there. That said though, that's what I expect for the end of Warzone 1 as of right now. That's going to wrap things up for today. If you enjoyed the video, let me know by dropping a like on it. And if you're new here, or if you have not already subscribed, every single day I got you covered with all things going on in COD, so feel free to hit that sub button and turn on those post notifications. And as always, if you want to check out any of my partners, be sure to use code IMMORTAL for a spicy discount on all Scuff, G Fuel, Gamer Advantage, and Control Freak products. And the links for all those can be found down in the description below. But once again, thank you so much for tuning in, and until next time, take it easy, have an awesome rest of your day, and I'll catch you guys later. Peace out.